I'm exploring, Eva Maria said, walking over, her heart doing a silly little flip. I'm Eva. Min Jun, he said, rising slightly in a gesture of old-world courtesy that felt instinctive, not taught. Please, join me. The agnello is supposed to be exceptional, but I'm told one must order it for two. Over slow-cooked lamb and a bottle of Sangrantino, they talked. She was Eva Sinclair, a freelance cultural consultant from Kingston taking a sabbatical. He was Min Jun Kim, an import-export consultant based in Seoul and Naples, scouting locations for a client's potential villa purchase. He was witty, startlingly well-read, and listened to her talk about Jamaican art and the feel of Morant Bay sand with a focus that made her feel like the only person in the world. He didn't ask probing questions. He simply absorbed her. He was also, Eva Maria quickly learned, delightfully, bewilderingly, madly into her. His courtship was not that of a tourist fling. It was immediate, intense, and terrifyingly sincere. I have to see you tomorrow, he said simply as he walked her back to El Nido under a blanket of stars. There is a place by the coast I want to show you. The next day, a low-slung, gunmetal gray Aston Martin DB11 purred up her dusty lane. Min Jun leaned against it, looking like he'd stepped out of a different, more luxurious universe. The drive was a whirlwind of hairpin turns and breathtaking vistas, ending at a secluded cove accessible only by a private path. A picnic appeared, prepared by a chef from a Michelin-starred restaurant in Ancona. The champagne was Krug. Min Jun, this is too much for a second date, Eva Maria laughed, her toes in the warm Adriatic sand. Nothing is too much, he said, his gaze serious. Time is a currency I don't like to waste. And so it began. Their whirlwind was a masterpiece of contrast and luxury. One day, they'd be sharing a simple pizza al taglio on a sun-drenched piazza, laughing like children. The next, he'd have her on his private jet, a sleek, unmarked Gulfstream, to Paris for dinner at Lamboise because he'd mentioned a craving for soufflé and she'd said she'd never been. He bought her a vintage Bulgari sapphire necklace from a boutique on Via dei Condati, not because she asked, but because he said the blue matched the sea in her eyes when she saw it. He rented not a villa, but Il Castelluccio, a restored 16th-century castle on the opposite hill from her cottage. He filled it with art, not the staid, old masters she was used to, but bold, contemporary pieces that vibrated with energy. My business is about sensing value before others see it, he explained vaguely when she marveled at a stunning, chaotic Banksy original propped casually in the library. He was a paradox. He could disassemble and clean a motorcycle engine with calm, grease-smudged precision, but his phone conversations, conducted in rapid-fire Korean or crisp Italian, were full of terms like logistics, shipment variances, and ensuring compliance. He had a scar, thin and pale, that ran along his rib cage. When she traced it one night in his sprawling, linen-sheeted bed, he just kissed her forehead and murmured, a souvenir from a less careful time. He was fiercely protective. When a group of boisterous, drunk German tourists once got too loud and invasive near her at a local wine festival, Min Jun didn't raise his voice. He simply stepped forward, said a few quiet words in German, and fixed them with a look that turned their laughter to ice. They apologized and scurried away. The power he radiated in that moment was cold and absolute, a stark contrast to the tender man who would spend an hour braiding her hair. Eva Maria, lost in the delicious fog of passion and freedom, chose to see only the prince in this fairy tale. The private security detail he said was for valuable clients, who sometimes visited. The sudden, middle-of-the-night departures for emergency logistical issues. The way even the hardened local poliziotto seemed to give him a respectful, wary nod. She attributed it to the aura of immense, self-made wealth and a certain natural authority. Her own life had been filled with security and unspoken rules, his just seemed like a more intense, private sector version. For Min Jun, Eva Maria was a revelation. In his world of calculated violence, shifting alliances, and brutal transactions, she was a sun-drenched miracle. Her laughter was genuine, not a bargaining tool. Her pride had a quiet, deep-rooted dignity, not the bluster of ego. She was sophisticated but not jaded, kind but not weak. She spoke of her home, her big, loud family, a convenient half-truth, with a warmth that made his chest ache. She was his escape, his vera vita, his true life.